Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. Last night I asked you guys on my channel to comment any questions that you want answered today, and from last night to this morning I got over 200 comments, so I'm not going to be able to answer everything, but I'm going to go through as many as I can. I've got my iced matcha here, and like I said, I have my laptop right here for the questions, so if I look down, that's what I'm looking at. So let's just get started right away. So the first question is, what would you like to do when you retire from dancing? So one thing is, obviously we all are going to have to retire from dancing professionally one day, but ballet is probably always going to be in my life, whether that be teaching ballet, setting ballets, helping out and working at a ballet school, things like that. So I do think that ballet will always be in my life. I can't see myself never having ballet as a part of my life, and I'm probably going to be taking ballet classes for as long as I can. Maybe I'm wrong, but once I get there, we'll see. But honestly, I don't have any concrete plans. Something lighthearted. I remember all the way back during the pandemic, your dad built you a ballet bar to use at home during lockdown. Is it still there? Wow, you've been around for a while. So if you didn't know, during lockdown when we were all taking ballet classes in our houses, my dad built me a ballet bar in my window. And no, it is not there anymore. We took it out once we were released from lockdown. Some of your favorite dancers from the past and present. So my favorite dancers are Marinella Nunez and Uliana Lopatkina. I obviously have a lot of favorites, but I think those two are my top. How Walnut, my cat, came into my life. So when I was 14, I had just lost one of my other cats, had passed away. And once I was ready to get a new cat, my dad and I went to PetSmart, out of all places, and there was an adoption event for rescued animals, or I think it was just cats. And I remember seeing Walnut and I was so sure of him. I said, I want that one. Yeah, I've had him for all of his life. Can you share tips for ballet students who want to build flexibility fast, like beginners who are a bit older, like 13 years old? So there's no fast tracks in ballet. I see a lot of people asking questions like this, like how do I get high extensions fast? How do I get my splits fast? There's no fast in ballet, unfortunately. You have to put in the time, the effort, the dedication, and over time you slowly improve. But my biggest tips for building flexibility is by stretching at least 5 times a week. Make sure that you're warm before you start stretching. So that means that you have to have done some exercise before you start stretching so that your muscles are nice and warm and loose. Find a stretching routine you like on YouTube and stick to it. You have to be consistent. Are you still as shy as when you were growing up, or have you gradually become less shy as you've gotten older? I'm definitely not as shy as when I was younger. I would talk to no one when I was really little. But I'm definitely, I wouldn't say I'm so much shy now. I'm just quiet. So like even in a group of people, you will not hear me talking. I'm usually just listening. Where would you like to travel? Oh my gosh, so many places. I'm really grateful and lucky that I have traveled to a few places, but I would really love to go to Greece, Spain, Germany. I've been to Paris, but I want to go to the south of France. I've also been to a lot of places in Italy, but I've never been along the coast in Italy, so I'd really love to go there. I'd love to go to Thailand, Norway, Canada, so many places on the list. How do you find companies or studios that hire freelance dancers for lead roles, or do they reach out to you? So it goes both ways. People reach out to me, and I also do a lot of outreach. So that's part of the behind the scenes that I'm kind of always working on my computer, on my phone, doing research, reaching out to people, and then people do reach out to me as well. So it goes both ways. What is my favorite animal? A swan. What did you have to sacrifice to become a professional ballet dancer? There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into devoting your life to something like ballet, just as is any other thing in life. I'm sure there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into a lot of careers, but for ballet specifically, I pretty much didn't have any social life outside of ballet. All of my friends that I had at school were also at ballet with me, so I just had that same friend group. And then when I was a sophomore, when I was around 15 or 16, I did online school. So I did not participate in any of school dances, prom, homecoming, football games. I didn't do any of that. And quite honestly, to go back to the shy thing, I didn't want to do any of that. A lot of people told me that I'm going to regret it when I'm older. They said you're going to regret not having those experiences, and it's been a long time since then, and I still don't regret it. I am so glad that I chose the ballet path because that's what my heart told me. So that's definitely a big thing that I had to sacrifice, but for me, it wasn't really a sacrifice. I think for some people, it's a big part that they don't want to give up. And that's fine, it just depends on the person. How do you cope with injuries when you have to keep performing and doing classes? So this is really touchy, and there's a fine line. There are some minor injuries or pains and aches that we can work through as long as you're being very mindful and careful. And then there are some injuries and some types of pain that you absolutely should not be working through or forcing dancing through, because it can cause serious damage. So when I have small injuries that I can work through, you really just have to find ways to manage it. So this past Nutcracker season, I had really bad hip pain and foot pain, and I just got online and researched. I got a lot of cooling patches, icy hot patches and different types of lidocaine for my foot, and you just got to find ways to get through it safely. The other thing I was using was like icing or heating pads, and this is just going to depend on what injury you have, because depending on what injury you have, you're going to be treating it differently, of course. But this is definitely something that we as dancers usually have to learn pretty young, because ballet is so unnatural for the body that you are usually in some kind of pain. But again, it should not be extreme severe pain where you are really severely injuring yourself or something like that. When you have a really severe injury, you need to stop and take a break, go to the doctor, go to PT, etc. What cameras do you use for filming? I just use my iPhone as of right now. What is the toxic side of the ballet industry, and how do you manage colleagues or other dancers who are jealous of you? I feel like this is a really loaded question, and it's really hard for me to give a short answer. There's a lot of toxicity in ballet, which is part of the reason why I haven't wanted to go into a ballet company again, because I simply just don't want to deal with it. There's a lot of toxicity when it comes to ballet directors, and this isn't all of the time, of course. There can be a lot of politics involved, so even if you're the most hardworking, dedicated dancer in the room, a lot of times you still won't be treated fairly or be given roles fairly. There are so many politics when it comes to donors and money and parents, and just so many factors that come into it, and I think that that's very toxic. The company environment can be very, very competitive, which is natural, and I think some healthy competition is fine, but sometimes it can go too far, and I think that sometimes artistic directors don't help with this and don't really help nurture a healthy environment. So that can be really, really stressful for the dancers coming in every day and having to deal with such a negative environment. And then of course, the body standards in ballet can be extremely toxic. A lot of times as dancers, you're repeatedly told that you need to lose weight, or you're brought into the artistic director's office and you're told privately, or the artistic director or whoever's at the front of the room or ballet master will tell the whole room that they need to lose weight, or just things along those lines that can be really hard mentally and emotionally. Again, to show up every day when you've been told those things the day before or every other day or daily, it can just be a lot on your spirit and your soul. So those are just some of the toxic sides of the ballet industry. And then how do you manage colleagues or dancers who are jealous of you? I don't really ever think people are jealous of me. And if they are, I don't know it. I'm not exposed to this anymore as a freelance dancer because I'm not surrounded with company members all of the time. But yeah, I don't really know. If people are jealous or envious, they usually tend to hide it, I think. And that goes for everybody. I'm not speaking about just me. Next question, did you do any other sports or styles of dance before focusing on ballet? I've never done any sports. I started ballet when I was 3. It was a little rough in the beginning just because I was so shy. So I would like cry and not want to go in the room. But eventually I really fell in love with it, and I was extremely dedicated to ballet from the beginning. So I never did any other sports. I did play the flute for a little while in middle school, but quite honestly, it was because my mom wanted me to, and I didn't really like it, so I ended up stopping. As for other styles of dance, I've only really focused on ballet, but I've also taken contemporary classes, modern, character, flamenco, just anything that they have us do at summer intensives, really. Jazz, musical theater, things like that. But ballet has always been the focus. And then I can do contemporary ballet as well. Did you ever have another career in mind when you were a child? I did when I was really young. I thought I would want to become a veterinarian, but then I realized that I love animals way too much, and it would just be very hard for me not being able to save all of the animals. And then at one point when I was like a preteen, I thought I was really interested in forensic science. But I just have never really, my brain doesn't really work that way in the math and science department. I'm just very artistic all around. So I don't think that would have worked out for me. So those were the only two I really remember thinking of. Do you think you will become a ballet teacher later on in life? So technically I already am a ballet teacher. I've taught a lot in my life for the past several years, and sometimes I'll do private lessons and then I do sub. So I kind of am already, but I think you mean like become a teacher after I retire, and the answer to that is maybe, I don't know. Do you think it's possible going to college and continuing ballet professionally at the same time? So yes, it is possible. I've seen many people do it. It can be difficult and a lot on your plate, but it is possible. It's totally doable. I don't know if you want to like go to college in person, but I know a lot of professional dancers do take college classes during their career, but it is also possible to actually go to a university and do ballet professionally. But most of the time when people choose that route, they go to a 4-year university and then pursue professional ballet after that, if that makes sense. So they keep going to ballet classes through the 4-year university, and then after they're done with college, or at least for the 4 years, they'll then audition to go into ballet companies. That's just one way I've heard of it, and I have seen it successfully done before. So if that's what you're asking, then yes. Have you tried figure skating? I feel like you'd be amazing with your ballet skills. I've tried ice skating, just like at Christmas time, you know, going on the ice. And yes, I can do it, and I can kind of like lift my leg a little bit and spin slowly, but I'm definitely not good at it. Maybe if I took lessons. Any advice for someone who wants to progress in ballet? The only way to progress in ballet is to be consistent with it as much as you can. You have to stick with it, and you have to practice quite often depending on how fast you want to improve. Obviously, the more classes you take, the quicker you'll improve. Not everyone has the flexibility in their life to take ballet all of the time, but if I were you, I would take as many classes as I could. Also, stretching outside of ballet really helps, and doing anything at home that you can. There's a lot of helpful YouTube videos on that. How hard is it to remember the choreography for all of your performances and classes? So it is not difficult. I think the only time that it's really difficult for a professional to remember choreography on stage is if there was really little rehearsal time or little rehearsal prep, and maybe it's like a really difficult ballet. But other than that, at this point, we are pretty good at retaining choreography. In class, depending on how tired we are, we'll mess up combinations and things. Some days are better than others, but usually on stage, we're pretty on top of it. What do you do to wind down before sleep? Watch a TV show, read a book? Just curious on your wind down routine. So before I go to sleep, I sometimes will watch a movie or watch a TV show. A lot of times I'm editing footage because I film a lot throughout the day. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sometimes I'll be on the phone with friends. How did Walnut get his name? And who is the cute kitty you're holding in the picture? So Walnut, I don't know why. I was like 13 or 14 and I just really liked the name Walnut, and honestly, I still really like the name Walnut. And then the cat I'm holding in the picture is one of the neighbor's cats outside that I give attention to and play with sometimes. And his name is Oliver. If you could go back in time, would you choose another method of ballet? I think you guys are referring to like Baganova, Balanchine, Cicchetti, Cuban, RAD. So if I had to go back, would I choose another method? No, I wouldn't. I'm very happy with my training in the Baganova method. When you start ballet as an adult, do you still have to wear a leotard and tights, or can you wear what you want? It depends on the studio, but 99% of ballet studios that have adult classes let you wear what you want as long as you can exercise and move comfortably. So I see adults in adult classes wear leggings or yoga pants and like a comfortable top, a tank top sometimes. So you don't have to wear a leotard and tights. It's really up to you. Depending on the studio, I would check on that first. Would you ever make a cookbook or meal prep book inspired for dancers by dancers to help encourage healthy relationships with food and body positivity? I've thought about this and I have gotten requests to do this. This isn't something that I would take on right now because I have a lot going on already, but it's definitely something on my mind to do in the future. Can you talk about not looking for a new apartment anymore? So I told you guys I was apartment hunting, I think it was around February, March of this year, and I suddenly stopped. It was because of something that happened in my personal life that stopped me from looking for a little while. I'm not going to go into details, but then after that I had to go to Florida for Giselle, and then I performed Le Corsaire, and then I had to prepare for Mexico for Sleeping Beauty, so I just couldn't start apartment hunting anymore. And now we're getting into very close to nutcracker season, so it's just a little bit too hectic and I can't do it right now. This is funny, this is random. What do you do with the other half of the avocado to stop it from going brown before you get the chance to eat it? So what I do is I fill a little bowl with water and then put the other half of the avocado in there, and then I put it in the fridge, and that stops it from getting brown. Do you have a musical ear? How important is for ballet dancers to have it? I know musicality is crucial in ballet, and if you don't have natural talent for that, what do you do? I would say that I definitely have natural musicality. I think I've had that since I was very young. I can just naturally hear the music. I think I do better with musicality than counting. It is very important for ballet dancers to have it. It's one of the questions. I honestly don't really know if you don't have a natural talent for it. I think most of us just learn it over time, but it is very crucial. You are right, especially if you're in a company and you're working in a corps de ballet with a bunch of other people. You all have to move at the exact same time and stay together. So the only way to do that is to listen to the music. Which ballet music is your favorite? That is almost impossible for me to answer because I love so many, but Swan Lake is definitely up there. The Nutcracker Grandpa, Giselle. Also Don Q has some amazing music. Also Romeo and Juliet. I'm just listing every ballet at this point. What are some of your dream roles that you have not done yet? I would say full length Swan Lake, full length Giselle, and also Juliet and Romeo and Juliet. How do you not fall out of love with ballet after doing it for so many years? Well, how do you fall out of love with ballet after doing it for so many years? I feel like I'm just loving it more as time goes on, honestly. What advice would you give to younger dancers? My biggest advice for younger dancers is to not compare yourself and your journey to someone else and their journey. Everyone has a unique journey, and the way that you are progressing as a dancer is going to look completely different from other people. So please do not compare yourself to someone else. You never know what's in store for you, and the way that you're going to get there is not going to be the same as someone else. What was your first principal role? The first principal role that I danced, I was 15 or 16, and it was the lead in Paquita, the ballet Paquita. That was the first time I did 32 fouettes on stage. The way I was terrified. I did do them though. When I was 14, I did Lilac Fairy, but that's more of a soloist role. All right, there are so many questions here. I think that's all I'm going to answer for today. My light here is also overheating and probably going to die on me in a second. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys liked this Q&A. I don't know if you're tired of my Q&As by now, but there's just so many questions. So I do like to answer them and get back to you guys. So maybe I'll make another one answering more of these questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you and I love you, and I will talk to you later.